Hey guys, this is Echo Soundworks, and you are checking out a mixing/production tip and trick tutorial video on ADSR. So in this video, we'll be checking out a question that I get asked quite a bit, and that question is, how do you get your 808s and your sub basses to actually sound like they're there and in the mix on laptop speakers, iPhone speakers, that sort of thing. So we're going to check out a few different tips and tricks you can use to make your 808s and your sub basses have more prominence in basically the higher frequency range, because that's what's going to get you there. Now, let me preface the rest of this video with this disclaimer. I don't think you should, when you're mixing or you're producing, you should be like, oh, I really want this track or this song or this mix to sound really good on crappy speakers or small speakers. That shouldn't be the goal. The goal when mixing is always to get your song to sound as good as it can and how you want it to on as many different listening mediums as possible, whether that's really high-end monitors or crappy earbud, laptop, iPhone type speakers. All right, so here is our primary 808 sample. It's from my 808 library called Sub-Zero 808. Right, so that's what we're working with. Now, the first thing you want to do is analyze your specific 808 and then think about that in context with your mix. So let's take this off. Let's load up a multimeter here, and we will load it into our master bus so we can see it on everything at once. So let's just check out what frequencies this 808 is occupying. So it wouldn't take a genius to realize and understand that it's the lower frequencies. Well, that's the problem. Those smaller speakers can't replicate those frequencies as faithfully as your monitors can. So that's why you can't hear it as well. So the short answer to this is you have to add and accentuate and bring out higher frequencies, whether it's through saturation, enhancing transients, or a combination of those. So this is our main 808. All right, so now that you have dialed in and figured out where your frequencies are and aren't on the sample, the first thing you want to do is start to consider to enhance the transients. And you can do this with two tools that I think are pretty easy to use and they get good results. The first one is a transient shaper and then a compressor where you set it to where it's actually enhancing the transients, not reducing. All right, so here is a transient shaper that I like using. It's made by Softtube. I added just a little bit of punch to this, about a decibel. Didn't mess with the sustain a lot. There's not a lot of kick tick in this sample, so it didn't bring out too much, but it did help, I think. So if we play it. And then let's bring in the compressor after it. And with this, I have the attack time set to 23 milliseconds and the release set to 23. It's usually a good starting place when you're trying to get a enhanced transient, is to get a medium attack and then a synchronized release time. So that's why it's 23 milliseconds. But this isn't like a steadfast rule. Play around with that if you guys are going to dig around with it. Then I have the ratio at 2:7:1, and I messed around with the threshold to where I got where I like. So a little bit more snap on it, right? So I like that. If we crank the threshold, turn the ratio up, you can really hear that, right? And that's clipping. So that'd be too much. So I usually just mess around with it till I get one that sounds, or till I get a sound that works for my production. Again, listen to all this in context. All right, so after you have your enhanced transients how you want them, the next thing I would suggest trying is duplicate your track into two separate tracks and then treat this as kind of like the tracks that you're going to add frequency to. Maybe it's harmonics, saturation, or maybe it's a combo of the two. So what I did with this green track was I just duplicated the exact same preset from Kontakt Sub-Zero 808. And I loaded up a channel EQ in Logic, and I took out all the lows, took out all the highs, so we just have kind of this low mid. Right? And then what I did was I added a transient shaper on top of that. So let's dial down the punch just a little. All right, so now that we've got the frequency kind of zeroed in on those low mids here, and we got the transient shaper, well, now you can add some type of enhancing plugin. Maybe it's a harmonic enhancer. So let's actually try that. We're gonna go to distortion, and let's just add a simple bit crusher to this. Right, so just kind of dialing in a taste here. Let's listen in context now. All right, so you can take this a step further and duplicate that track again, like I've done here. And with this one, you're gonna take everything out to about 1K. So this is 1K and up, right? So on this first one, we have about 200 to 1K active. On this one, we have everything cut out below that. So we're gonna enhance the highest end that you can really get on an 808. So sounds something like this with the EQ, right? Not a lot going on, but let's add FabFilter Saturn with just some heavy saturation setting on the higher band. Right, you could even use a harmonic pusher, like IM pusher. We have the high and the magic. Kind of blend those two together, perhaps. So now that I have that kind of set up, let's listen to both of these duplicated 808s. Let's look at our multimeter as we do that. Right, there's some stuff up near 16K and 8K. Now, again, I can't stress this point enough. This does depend on your mix and what's going on in your mix. But if you do all of this and then blend to taste, you should be able to hear your 808 much clearer on smaller speakers. And another reason why I like duplicating the tracks is you can always go in here and you can, let's turn down the sustain on this sample. Right, because I don't want all the high end coming through the entire time. Now, this last trick here is kind of like a wild card one. It sometimes works and it sometimes sounds really weird and just not right, but I'm gonna show it to you anyway. Some 808 samples don't have a pronounced kick tick. It's like this little tick type sound right before the main sound starts, and pretty much every kick has it. And you can actually try layering in a new kick tick sample with your 808 sample that you might be struggling to hear. I like using Serum for this just because I use Serum all the time, as you guys know. As you guys know, you can also use like Kick 2. You can also just chop up a sample into like maybe a few actual cycles and get a similar sound. But this right here just pulled up a noise. Let me turn that up. Right, it's just the noise. It's called a kick transient, and then I use a low pass, high pass filter to control the frequency. I just take out a little bit of lows and a little bit of the highs. And then as loud as this is right now, it's gonna sound really weird. But it might work if you tuck it. All right, so let's turn off the main and listen to these 3 doctored up 808 tracks we made. Right, there's mid and a little bit of high frequency content. Well, that's what you need to be able to hear your 808 in a earbud listening environment or on iPhone speakers or laptop speakers. And this will actually just help make it more prominent in the mix without having to eat up all of your headroom. There you guys go. If you have any questions or comments, let me know below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm Echo Soundworks. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.